I moved into my new apartment complex last January. It wasn't anything fancy, a beige, four-story building just off the highway, but it was quiet, cheap, and close enough to work that I could walk if my car ever broke down. I'd been living out of boxes for almost a week before I really started paying attention to the view from my window. Across the narrow courtyard was another identical building. Same beige paint, same square windows stacked like a checkerboard. During the day, you'd see curtains open, people watering plants or tapping on laptops. Nothing unusual. At night, though, there was one window that never changed. Top floor, far left corner. The light in that apartment was always on. The first time I noticed it was maybe 2 o'clock. I was up late unpacking. I remember looking out and realizing that every other window in the complex was dark, except that one. The curtain was half drawn, and behind it I could make out the faint shape of a person standing perfectly still. At first, I thought it was a reflection, or maybe someone watching TV, but the figure didn't move. It just stood there, angled toward my side of the courtyard. I told myself it was nothing. Someone couldn't sleep, maybe pacing or stretching. But when I woke up the next morning and looked again, the light was still on. The curtain hadn't moved. That's when I started keeping track. For 3 nights straight, the light never went off. The figure would be there sometimes, not every night, but enough that I started to expect it. Sometimes it was right up against the glass, other times it was farther back, just a faint outline. By the 5th night, curiosity got the better of me. I went outside under the excuse of taking out the trash, just to get a better angle. When I looked up from the courtyard, I realized that whoever was up there wasn't moving at all. They weren't scrolling on their phone or pacing around. They were just standing there. A single light. A single silhouette. I remember standing there longer than I should have, waiting for something, anything to happen. Then, all of a sudden, the curtain shifted slightly, like someone had brushed it with their hand. I froze. It felt like whoever was up there had noticed me. I went back inside and tried to forget about it, but once you see something like that, you can't really unsee it. Every night before bed, I'd glance out of habit. Sometimes the curtain would be completely closed, sometimes half open again. One Friday night, my friend Leah came over for dinner. We were watching a movie when she asked if I always left my blinds open. I told her, yeah, it made the apartment feel less boxed in. She walked over to peek outside and said, "Oh, that's creepy." I asked what she meant. She pointed. "That window across from you, the one with the light, there's somebody staring right at us." My stomach dropped. I looked, and sure enough, the figure was there again, closer this time, maybe only a few feet from the glass. Even from that distance, I could tell the head was tilted slightly to one side, like they were studying us. Leah laughed nervously and said, "Maybe they're just lonely." I laughed too, but it didn't feel funny. The next morning, I went to the leasing office. The manager, a middle-aged guy named Kurt, barely looked up from his computer when I asked who lived in apartment 4 amperes across the courtyard. He frowned, tapped at his keyboard for a second, then said, 4 amperes has been empty since November. Renovation issues. Why? I felt a chill run through me. Are you sure? There's been a light on in there all week. He sighed. Yeah, we keep the power running for maintenance, but no one's moved in. Probably just a wiring issue with the light. We'll check it out. That answer didn't make me feel better. That night, when I got home, the light was still on, but the curtain was closed tight, like someone had heard every word I said. 2 nights later, I woke up around 3 o'clock to the sound of my phone buzzing on the nightstand. It was a notification from my building's security app. Each apartment had a small outdoor camera near the door, and the app would ping you if motion was detected. Before we continue the story, make sure to like and subscribe if you like these stories and comment your stories down below. The thumbnail image showed something that made my blood run cold. Someone was standing at my door. The picture was grainy, but I could see the outline of a person thin, long-armed, their head tilted to the side, exactly like the silhouette from the window. I didn't move for almost a full minute. The notification said the motion had lasted only 7 seconds before whoever it was disappeared. When I finally worked up the nerve to look through the peephole, the hallway was empty. The next day, I called maintenance and told them to check apartment 4 amperes. Kurt promised they'd go up and look, said he'd call me afterward. He never did. That night, I noticed something new. The curtain in 4 amperes was gone. Instead, the window was wide open, the light flickering faintly. I stood there staring, trying to convince myself it wasn't strange. Maybe maintenance really had gone in and forgotten to close it. Then the light flickered again, and for just a second, I saw a face. It wasn't fully visible, just the outline of pale skin and dark eyes pressed against the glass. And it was smiling. After that, things got worse fast. I started hearing noises in the vents, soft, dragging sounds that would move from one side of the apartment to the other. Sometimes at night, I'd wake up to faint tapping on the wall behind my headboard. I told myself it was pipes, or animals in the ducts. I even called pest control, but they didn't find anything. One night, Leah texted me around midnight. "Why are you in that other apartment right now?" I stared at my phone, confused. "What are you talking about?" I wrote back. She replied almost instantly. "I'm parked outside. I can see you. Top floor, left corner. The light's on and someone's standing there. It looks just like you." I ran to the window, heart hammering, and looked across the courtyard. The light in 4 amperes was on again, and someone was standing there, not just standing, mirroring me. Every time I shifted, the figure did too. When I lifted my hand, it lifted its hand. When I stepped back, it stepped back, like it was copying me through the glass. I backed away from the window and called the police. They showed up about 15 minutes later. 2 officers went upstairs to check apartment 4 amperes while another waited with me. I remember hearing their footsteps echoing above us, the radio chatter crackling. After a few minutes, one of them came over the radio and said something that made my skin crawl. "Apartment's empty. Lights are off. No sign of anyone." The officer with me looked confused, but when I pointed out the window, the light was still on, burning bright, same as always. He didn't have an answer. None of them did. The next morning, maintenance was in 4 amperes all day. I heard hammering, scraping, furniture being moved. When I got home that evening, the window across from mine was dark for the first time in weeks. I should have felt relieved. But that night, as I was brushing my teeth, I heard it 3 soft knocks. They came from my bedroom window. I froze, toothbrush halfway to my mouth. Slowly, I walked over and pulled the blinds back just enough to peek outside. The window in 4 amperes was still dark, but reflected faintly in my glass, I saw a pale face staring back at me from the other side. I dropped the blinds and stumbled backward, heart pounding. The knocking didn't come again. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep much at all after that. A few weeks later, I moved out. I didn't tell the leasing office why. I just broke the lease and left. Sometimes, though, when I drive past the old building at night, I glance up at the windows out of habit. Most are dark, except one. Top floor, left corner. The light's always on. And every time I see it, I can't help but think the curtain looks just slightly open, like something inside is still watching. If you enjoyed this story and would like to see more, subscribe and leave a like for more videos like this.